St. Paul says that God wills everyone to be saved and to come to knowledge of the truth. That's what he wills, what he desires. Two things, a salvation and the knowledge of the truth. Christ says, I am the way, the truth, and the life, the knowledge of Christ. How would that happen? Today's gospel shows when a centurion, who was a Roman soldier, an officer, a nobleman, a non-Jew, someone who had no understanding or belonging to the chosen people, living in Capernaum, he finds himself that there are things he cannot do. Like, for example, healing his own slave. A man of this stature, for whom everything works like in a Swiss watch, there are things that he cannot do. Which means physical ailment of his slave is an impediment, a wall that makes him, very important element here, to be humble, to ask for help. And clearly, Jesus' fame already spread all over. And it's happened already in Capernaum, that is actually called the town of Jesus. And centurion sends first the nobles of the Jewish authority, a very formal, official delegation. This is how he would like to approach, because if you send someone of high ranking, there's a greater possibility you'll get the favor done. So the Jews go and plead with Jesus. At one point or another, we all are faced with as one situation or another where we need to go to say, we cannot fix it. We need you to intervene. And the argument the Jews use is the following. He deserves to have you do this for him, for he loves our nation and he built a synagogue for us. Wonderful. So it means a very friendly and a collaborator even of the Jews. So all the clear indications that now Jesus should actually intervene. So they urged him, look, the centurion, he's asking for a request. Well, let's not turn it down because he's a good man. And actually, he put a lot of his funds to build the synagogue. And the Lord decides to go with them. As he's coming closer, the centurion sends friends, this time friends. Almost like, look, let's settle for more friendly level. Before, I wanted to be more formal, official, and you agreed. But look, let's be on a friendly level. I would like you to come. But, the friends who actually pass on the message convey the words of the centurion. That is surprising. Lord, do not trouble yourself, for I'm not worthy to have you enter under my roof. But wait a minute. The centurion could have said, actually, I'm very worthy. Where did I pump all this money for? From my own pocket? For this little house of prayer of yours? So you better come and do it for me. Do you think Jesus would have come? We can understand that we cannot approach the Lord on a white horse of our abilities, of our stature of thinking superior. This simply does not work. Sometimes people say, well, my prayers, are they listened? Are they even meaningful? Depends what attitude we have inside. If we think, I'm worthy, I deserve it, now you should be my servant and do what I want, it's not going to happen. The humility conquers the heart of God and not haughty, arrogant pride. But I'm not saying only of the external attitude, because the centurion shows what's within him. Look, he could have said, I'm a good person. I'm not a nasty pagan. I'm actually trying to make your people worship and have a good condition here in Capernaum. Instead, when the light of Christ starts approaching his household, he notices in him, I'm not worthy. I really find myself so distant from this light. You know where you could see that a person lives really a spiritual life? He or she starts having a knowledge of one's own self. All throughout many years of my priesthood, I heard a lot of people who were actually on the white horse of their superiority, thinking I'm better than everybody else, and I'm not such a bad person. I don't really have much to confess. Why even should I go to confession if I'm such a beautiful person? That means a total darkness. That means there is no understanding of the truth, of the knowledge of the truth. You can actually convey a lot of words of this sort, but there is emptiness. There is no truth in these words. And it's clear that at the end, the grace of God will never work, will never enter inside. You might remember when Peter caught a huge amount of fish at the beginning of his calling, he fell at Jesus' feet saying, "Depart from me, for I'm a sinful man." He didn't say, "I'm a good guy. I'm a nice person. Actually, you are happy to have me around." No. That's why if you read at least some writings of the saints and holy people, they all have a clarity of who they are of their own. And so they learn how to lean on God, how to make God the center of their lives. If this knowledge would have never entered in their lives, they would be just arrogant, pompous people walking around thinking God owes them the world. It doesn't work like that. But for me, it's also interesting how those who really think themselves to be someone, at certain point they are struck by the devil and they collapse with this huge noise. I remember vividly one conversation with a guy who was complaining at what happened in his life, and I only quoted him the Magnificat, which says, "God casts down the mighty from their thrones, but lifts up the lowly." He doesn't say he lifts up everyone. No, the lowly. And since you now collapsed, as the statue of Saddam Hussein that was knocked down, well, there we go. Your ego hurts. The devil likes to knock down people like that. Why? Because we are all vain and there is a lot of pride with different shades and colors. The centurion gets the grace because of his humility and next, of his faith in Christ's word, which means you don't have to come to my house. Back in the day, it would be come, do some prayers, impose the hands, play maybe a flute, walk around 7 times around my house, then things will happen. No need. Your word is powerful. It's creative. What you say happens. As in my field, the centurion says, which means the military turf, I know what it means to say to a soldier, go and do it. If you don't do it, you will go to jail or will execute you. So everybody follows a command. And he understands from his position, your word is creative, is powerful. As we hear from the letter of the Hebrews, the word of the Lord is a double-edged sword, is living and effective, is able to penetrate and delivers what it says. If we believe that really Christ can speak an effective living word and can make a change and deliver a miracle, for him it is not a problem at all. The problem is on our state of soul, whether we are humble or proud, and if we truly believe that Christ is alive and has a power. And that amazes Jesus. There are very few instances when Jesus Christ is amazed. He usually is amazed at the lack of someone's faith. But this, he's amazed. A human being can amaze God. In what sense? Of confidence in God's working word. He is amazed. I haven't found such a faith in Israel. Excuse me? In Israel? Yeah, this guy really trusts, but trusts with his whole life, humbly placing himself, asking for my word. Absolutely, I will deliver the miracle. Let us ask for this disposition that the centurion has and the faith in Christ's word in our lives.